Hi ladies, I'm back today with a different type of video. I'm going to be showing you some of my sculpts that I made and poured into silicone. And also I actually have two that are in the sculpture form right now. They're in clay and I'm working on them. So let me show you these, and I kind of want to hope you'll see a progress. This is my first baby that I ever sculpted, Beloved, and he is in silicone. He's a really big boy. He wears 3 to 6 month size, and you can see that's even a little bit fairly, it can be snug on him. So he's a real big boy. And I painted him, so he is silicone. You can see he's squishy. Um, but I just want to say about him that I do have his molds. So if anyone is ever interested in having him either as a cuddle baby with a silicone head and cloth body, or a partial silicone with silicone head and limbs, just let me know and I can give you pricing. I could also sell as blank, not painted, but just let me know. I don't root hair. I do lashes, but I don't do hair. So if I sent you a finished baby, it would be bald. You have to send him out for rooting, or you could anyway, you could decide that. But I'm not trying to sell babies necessarily right now. I just want to show you my work. So this is my first baby I ever sculpted, and I did him without like any schooling or any assistance. I just tried my best to look at many videos and different things, and I just sculpted him by myself. So that's why he looks not so perfect. He's a little chubby boy, but I do still love him, even though he's very far from perfect, but I love him. And he has his little piggy nose, as you can see, and he's a big boy. He has big hands. Here's his hands and his fingers. And there's his passy. His theme is Dumbo. So he has Dumbo, and he's, like I said, he's a real big boy. So there's a long shot of him. He's a heavy boy. And I did root his lashes. But so this is who I sculpted, my very first sculpture. And he is, like I said, he was under no direction. I just tried my best to learn off of YouTube and things like that and sculpt the best that I could. Here is my second sculpture, and I hope you can tell, hopefully a little bit of difference. He still was under my own direction. I did not have any schooling or any teachers or anything. He is a full body, my first full body that I've ever made, and he is 13 inches, and he's about, I think, about 1.5 pounds. And him's is Seepin' too, and he is named Thomas because he was actually made after a baby that was miscarried and left us too soon. So I made him, and he's actually poured and painted in a little bit darker skin tone. I mean, he looks like the same skin tone as me, but he's actually not. He's much darker than me. But anyway, he's so Seepin'. He's a precious one. So he's made to not be exactly, but he's made to resemble a, sorry about my dog in the background, represent a, a preemie, very much preemie baby. So he would be about, I guess, about 20 weeks or a little bit more, maybe 22 weeks baby. But anyway, he was this very special one that I sculpted for a sweet lady and her family after their son Thomas that passed away from miscarriage. So he's a sweet boy, and I'm going to leave his name Thomas. And like I said, he's my first full body baby that I made. And I'll show you his little hands. So I kind of, as you can see, I progressed some, because if you look at Beloved, both his hands are fisted, which are easier, somewhat easier to sculpt, but they're actually easier to pour. When you make his mold and pour him in silicone, it's easier to get fist out. So I kind of progressed a little bit. I do have a fist on him. One hand is a fist and one hand is a hand. I mean, without a fist, so his fingers aren't separated. And then he's got one leg bent. I'm so sorry for my dog. I know she was being so annoying. I'm going to go shut the door for just a second. So, and he's got one leg straight and one leg bent. So there he is. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry for the noise. So if that helps any. I shut the door. I don't know how much that'll help, but it might help a little bit. Of course, she has to be doing it while I'm making a video. So there's my first two sculptures. So Beloved, the big baby boy, was my first, and Thomas, the little 13-inch full body silicone. And like I said, if you're interested in any of these, I did make their molds. So just let me know, and as a possible, I could possibly pour some in the future and paint them for you if you decided you would like one. And I could give you pricing and stuff. Just make a comment on the video and I'll let you know. So now we're moving on to the next one. Okay. And I did some cute, tiny little fantasy babies, but I'm not going to show you those because I'm trying to stick to human babies right now. But I did do two little fantasy babies, a pumpkin girl and like a little fantasy mermaid baby. But I did sculpt those two in between these times, but I'm not going to show you those today. So there's those two. And here is the next one. Hopefully you can see my progression that I'm getting better, hopefully. This one, I have sculpted under some direction. This time I became a part of a group that helped, other teachers, other sculptors, and they would help, and they help and give you direction about how to sculpt. And they give you actually a lot of direction, a lot of help, and a lot of advice. So hopefully you can tell I've progressed. Now this baby here is Bethel, means house of God. And I try to name most of my babies, have special names, my sculpts, that I do myself. And that is because, I have, basically God gives me the name. This is what I'm trying to say. So they're very special. So and this could be a boy or girl. All these sculpts could be boy or girl, but I just always saw my first two as boys just because that's what they look like to me. But this one, I'm happy to say, I think could be a boy or a girl. Finally doesn't look like a little old man. And like I said, this is, hopefully you can see a difference that I hopefully progressed with help. I've been working really hard. I've been working on her almost a year now, just her head. And she is eventually going to be a partial silicone, I believe, with cloth body and limbs, and silicone limbs and silicone head. But right now she's in the raw clay. She's not even baked. And I'm almost finished her. I just have some smoothing and things to do with her. But she's a big girl. She's going to be about a 3-month size. And she has her neck on her. I have to just finish, like smoothing her. And I have to add ears. She doesn't have any ears yet, but she's hiding that under her bonnet that she doesn't have ears. So this is Bethel. And eventually, it's going to be quite a while from now, but she'll be available. I'm hoping to pour, I don't know if I'll actually, maybe at the beginning of the year, maybe by the end of the year, I can make her mold for her head. And then, she'll be available for a cuddle baby at that point. But I'll keep y'all posted. So hopefully you can see if I'm improving. Let me see if I can hold up to my first and my third baby sculpt. Let's see. Hopefully you can see that I'm improving under teachers' directions and stuff like that. But there's the difference. I know that's fuzzy. Now I'm going to show you my fourth one that I'm working on right now. So please don't judge. This is just like the very, very beginning. So this baby looks kind of crazy right now. And I'm under a new school. So yes, you can see this is kind of what the babies start out looking like. So they go from that to this. I mean, you can see a huge difference. And this one is also in raw clay. And I'm under a new school, Caroline Doctory School, Silicone Magic. And she has a really excellent technique that she teaches us. And this is what they call the head sketch. It's really you're not even really doing the features of a baby yet, of what you want the baby to look like. You're just basically putting down clay so it's down correctly, so the spacing and everything like that. And I know his nose looks huge right now, but that's not going to stay that way. This is basically just to get the places where all the features go, like correctly, because you actually do measure quite a bit. It may not seem like it, but you do a lot of measuring, and sometimes you have to move the features around because, I mean, we think, oh, this is just a cute baby. Like with that one, with Beloved, you can see, I didn't do so much measuring. I just did what I thought was cute, basically. With this one, I've done a lot more measuring, so you can see, hopefully you can see a difference. But anyway, you know, babies' faces and us adult faces and everything, we actually do have some standards about how our face measurements are. So that's what this one's all about. It looks crazy right now, but I'm just getting the measurements down correctly of where all the facial features go. So if that makes sense. And he is like right now on a stick, so this will go down eventually into a full body baby. So that's why this will just fit right down inside the full body once that is sculpted. But we're just starting with that one. And this one's going to be a little, probably a smaller baby. It's going to be a small newborn, small to medium newborn. She is a large, the 3-month size. So all that makes a difference. And I've noticed when I sculpt, my babies just get bigger and bigger. Like, that's why you try to stay with the measurements. You keep measuring and remeasuring and stuff. And sometimes you take off clay and add clay. But to try to stay in with, and it's pretty scientific measurements, I mean, that they've come up with. So you'll know for sure, like, close to what size your baby will be if you stick within those measurements, which is pretty cool. But anyway, I just wanted to show you and kind of talk a little bit about my sculpting journey, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing my babies. And like I said, if you're interested in any of them, possibly getting one as a cuddle baby with just a silicone head and cloth body, or a blank, or you know, a full baby with the limbs and stuff, just let me know. And even Bethel right here will be quite some months before I can get her head into silicone. But even if you're interested in her, let me know that too, just so I can kind of have it in the back of my mind of who might be interested in her, so I can know how many to pour. But she's cute, and you can kind of see a trend with at least some of my babies. They kind of have the same look, and I've noticed that about, you know, the very experienced sculptors and the sculptors that, you know, have all their babies and kits out, that you can kind of look at those and tell, oh, that's, you know, a Bonnie Brown baby, or whatever, because you can, or Andrew Arcello, because you can see, like, they have a style or that all their babies hold. So my style, I think you can tell, is a chubby baby right now. I mean, with the exception of him, because he's made to be preemie. But you can kind of tell, even beside each other, that I can kind of tell they're siblings. He's like a smaller version of his big brother, I think. So anyway, and also, as you see with these two, these were sleeping because it's easier to sculpt sleeping babies, at least for me. And so you can see, and it's easier to sculpt their limbs straight and stuff, and it's also easier to pour. If you're going to pour your own doll and make a mold, it's easier, at least for me it is, to sculpt them more straight limbed, so the silicone gets to all the parts in the mold. But anyway, I was just trying to explain that. But so that's why you see my first ones, you know, are kind of straight limbed. And I am possibly thinking about putting armatures in him, but they would have to be very strong, because he's a solid boy. It's like he's getting ready to go boxing. So I'm thinking about putting his armor, because you can see what a difference that makes. If you put an armature, you can just bend his arm a little bit. It makes a big difference. But him's a cute boy. So just want to show you those and tell you a little bit about sculpting, because some people have been requesting videos talking about sculpting and showing my different things that I do with sculpting. And here are some of the tools, just a few of them that I use to sculpt. You can see. And sometimes people use dental tools, and here is some heads that I just kind of look at for proportions and stuff. That's actually a Bountiful baby head. This is the sculpture that was made by an unknown person that I kind of just look at. And then this is, hopefully this won't scare y'all, it's not a real one, obviously, but it's a reproduction of a baby, actually a very preemie baby skull. And that helps, like, get the proportions of stuff, to see how, you know, the head slopes backwards and everything. So if you can see, it's actually pretty close to this baby right here, the size wise. Anyway, so I thought hopefully y'all be interested in seeing some of my babies. So I'll talk to you later, and please, I really enjoy your comments. Put some comments for me and let me know what you think about the babies, and what's going on with y'all's life. I'd like to know always what's going on. and I'll talk to you soon. Stay safe and stay blessed.